to the Ireland Graduate Careers Fair for our final session on this stage today. And this is a very interesting session. This is something relating to the degree that you either have, the qualification you're studying for, and what it means. And there's no better person to explain it than Angela Lambkin, who's here with us today. And Angela is the Head of Information Services at QQI, that's Quality and Qualifications Ireland. Now, Angela's put together a presentation to explain how this all works, what QQI do, what the frameworks are. So I'm going to let Angela take you through this, and then please put any questions into the chat, and I'll come back in about 20 minutes and we'll go through them. But without further ado, Angela, over to you. Thanks very much.
Okay, thanks, Rory. Good afternoon, everybody, and I hope you've had a good day so far, and I hope I'll be able to keep you engaged and listening for the next sort of 15-20 minutes about qualifications, which mightn't seem like a very lively topic, but I think from your own point of view, it's something that you need to begin to understand the language around your qualification, because you're going to be asked questions when you attend interviews, when you're putting together your CV, when you make job applications. You're going to have to fill in certain boxes about your qualification, and you need to know a little bit about it. So basically what I'm going to do this afternoon is help you navigate your way around qualifications a little bit, including your own. And I'm going to give you some tips or some resources that will help you find out information when you need it from time to time about your qualification. Whether you have your qualification right now, as Rory said, or in the process of graduating or looking at your next qualification, all of this information will be important for you to think about and to bear in mind. So I'm just going, my name is Angela and I work for QQI, and we're the body responsible for quality assurance of all education and training after school and for qualifications in Ireland. So I suppose we have an overarching responsibility around ensuring your qualifications are the best that they can be, and obviously that they'll give you the best employment and careers in the future, alongside obviously working with your universities and colleges that you've attended. So as I said, I want to give you some helpful tips. Just want to make sure I can navigate through this here. Worked a minute ago, some helpful tips and resources. And I suppose what I would be saying is that most of the information resources, I think actually everything I'm talking about here this afternoon, is available free of charge. And it's really because of the fact that the government, the European Commission and other organizations support information about qualifications to help people like yourselves move on to get jobs, move on to other education and training programs. So I'm just going to show you some websites. You can see a few of the websites that you might or might not recognize, and I'm going to just give you some advice that you can go to these websites after I've had I've done my presentation. So you will see them, you know, again, NARIC is one of those websites. I'll talk to you about that in a second. Qualifax, Europass, and then QQI's own website. So you'll see those screens maybe a little bit more in a few minutes. So I just thought maybe you should think about language and some of the language and some of the questions that you will be asked. And we regularly get queries from people about their qualifications. We get asked, you know, what about my grade? What about do I have a degree? Do I have a special purpose award? And what level is it? So these are the types of elements, you might say, that will describe your degree. And I'm assuming that most of you here today will have a degree at this particular point in time, or be soon to get your degree. So we often refer that to as well as a major award. And that can be something that it's a large program that you've done. It's 2 years, it's 3 years, and we would often refer to it as being a major award. The NFQ level as well is the National Framework of Qualifications. You see that all of the time referred to. I looked today at the civil service and they are looking for executive officers on public jobs, and they refer to NFQ level 8. So that is an honours bachelor's degree. So some of the language that you need to familiarize yourself with, and maybe if one takeaway from today is for you to check up what your qualification says in the detail, and also learn a little bit more about the framework of qualifications. So again, I just said, you know, again, maybe ask the question, do you know which one is yours? And There are different types of qualifications. You will know clearly, hopefully, that you have a BA, a BSc, a BCom, a BAg Science, or a postgraduate qualification, or a higher certificate. So again, it's for you to actually go back and have a look at the certificate you have and see which one is yours, and to know clearly which one is yours and to know what level it's at on the framework of qualifications. And that's actually my next slide here. And I hope maybe at this stage, most of you might have seen this particular diagram, and we're responsible for this diagram. It's a system of 10 levels of qualifications. And if you remember, if you did the Irish Leaving Certificate, you would have a level 4/5 qualification at level, which is the Leaving Certificate. And then as people progress through the framework of qualifications, they can move up to a level 6, a level 7, a level 8, or a level 9 and 10 qualification. So again, for Grad Ireland, most of you here are around level 7, 8, and 9 at this particular point in time. And again, I would be saying to you to know where your level is. I had a query today from somebody who wasn't sure. You know, happens every day in QQI. People aren't sure, what level is my degree at? Is it level 7? Is it level 8? And it can become very important, obviously, when there are criteria for a particular job, which may say level 8 and you don't have a level 8, or a level 9 and you don't have a level 9. So check it out and make sure you have the correct information around your qualification. So just again, you know, we've had a framework of qualifications in Ireland for the last 20 years almost now, or 18 to 20 years anyway. And it's a system of what we call 10 levels, where all education and training has a place. And it's based on, you might say, standards and levels of learning outcomes, which basically show what you're capable of if you get a degree at level 8, or you have a Leaving Cert at level 4 and level 5. And the aim of it is to help you relate to from one level to another, help people progress as well from further education to higher education into employment. And it's all about giving, I suppose, public confidence to a qualifications system and to a qualifications from a particular country. And obviously in Ireland, we have a very strong and a very good reputation in relation to our qualification systems, our education system in general, and they'd be very well regarded worldwide. And you'll know that yourselves if you're looking at postgraduate programs, because you will know that people recognize the honours bachelor's degrees from Ireland for the purposes of getting into postgraduate education programs, either in Ireland or elsewhere. So this is important information for you to know about. And one item that I would recommend, you know, I'm kind of giving you some tips here, things that you mightn't know are available to you. There's one item called the European Diploma Supplement. And when you graduate, each college will be able to give you your Europass or your European Diploma Supplement. And this is something that you can get free of charge from the institution you attended, which is essentially, it's like a longer transcript about your qualification. And you can put that on your computer, you can put that onto your phone, and you can have that information about the institute you attended, the level of the qualification you have, the European level, because there's a corresponding European level as well, and then all of the details of the subjects you attended and a little bit of details about the Irish education and training system. And this can be very important when you go abroad, that you might find somebody doesn't know anything about UCD or Letterkenny Institute of Technology. They don't know or understand your system here in Ireland. So here you have a document which can help you. You can pass it on to them, and there you have all the information you might need. And again, that's a free document that you can get from your institution. So it's called the Europass or European Diploma Supplement. So just if you haven't heard of it, it's something to bear in mind. And that's, again, just another sample of it there in terms of what it might look for. It'll have your name, it'll have some details about it, and it's a very useful item of information for you. Now, the other thing I just would mention to you, and I know some of you here today will have had talks from some of the institutions around the country about postgrad options. And I would just remind some of you that Qualifax, which of course you might have remember from the time you were looking at CAO, but Qualifax also has a substantial amount of information about postgraduate programs, and it will have a lot of guidance material, but also it will list all the relevant courses about postgraduate options. So you don't need necessarily to trawl through every university or whatever else. You can find all the information you need there on Qualifax, and also it's there free of charge, and you can print off lists of courses, etc., for yourself. So I hope I'm not going too quickly along now in terms of moving you through some of these resources, but I'm just trying to give you a flavor of what's out there to help you gather information about yourself. Now, the other one is particularly for anybody who's an international student or who has studied abroad for a period of time and has a qualification from abroad. And if you come then to Ireland, or if you go abroad, you may find that people don't understand your qualification and they say to you, what level is it here in Ireland? So there is a website, again, we support it through QQI. It's called NARIC, which is the National Academic Recognition Information Centre. And we are, I suppose, the contact point here in Ireland for information, for providing information about foreign qualifications. And anybody can come to the website. They can look, we have it listed by country. We have around 1,500 qualifications listed there already for every country in the world. And you can look up a qualification from France, from Algeria, from Australia, and you can find out there what that qualification compares to within the Irish system. So today I was looking at one for somebody for a qualification from France, and it was somebody with a bachelor's degree from France, and I was able to pass that information on to them. So now they know that they have something that compares to a bachelor's degree at level 8 in Ireland, but it's French, obviously, and it's in France. It was achieved in France. So, you know, it helps, again, people understand their qualifications and then use that information to apply for a course or a job, depending on what their circumstances are. So again, this is a free service. It's advisory information that we provide, and we get a lot of people visiting our website looking for this information every day. So please use it, and you can submit queries to us if you need to anytime. And we also have a guide for using this database in 8 languages, because we obviously have many students coming here from all over the world who may not necessarily have English as their first language, and we would be very happy for them to be using the system and download the guide so they can understand how to use the website. And I think it's fairly straightforward. We are part of a bigger system as well, where if we have queries from a particular country where we don't have information about a particular qualification, we can find out information for you about a particular qualification, and then we can include it in the database once we gather that material. So it's called naric.ie, and there's another one then that I would also remind you about. It's a new register we have in QQI. It's called the Irish Register of Qualifications. Now, this is, again, when you're looking at a qualification that you're considering doing in Ireland. So you might be considering doing a postgraduate diploma or a postgraduate certificate in a particular area, and you're not sure whether it's fully accredited and whether it's actually recognised in the Irish National Framework Qualifications. And this register is a searchable database. You can put in the details of the course. You can actually search by a provider, or you can search by qualification type. And again, we have gathered all the information here from all of our institutions, from all the universities, institutes of technology, private colleges as well, and those who make QQI awards. And that information is available to you if you wish to, you might say, verify a particular qualification and what it is in Ireland. And it'll give you very clear information about it. And you can obviously get more information then behind that if you need to, by visiting the institution's website or Qualifax or some other particular website that might be useful to you. So I just mentioned very briefly as well, you know, we work in the international context. Irish qualifications, I've talked about the National Qualifications Framework, and I've talked to you about having a degree which would be at level 8 on the Irish Framework Qualifications. There is also a European qualifications framework, and that is an overarching framework for all European countries, if you like, and we all reference our national system to the European qualifications framework. So in Ireland, you will see there our national framework is at the center of this particular diagram, for where we have 10 levels, 1 to 10 there. And the EQF, or the European Qualifications Framework, has 8 levels. And again, in particular, in relation to higher education, it's levels 5 to 8 in relation to what they call short cycle, first cycle, and second and third cycle of higher education. And again, you know, it may not be that much of a concern to you right now, but if you transfer over to a university in the Netherlands, or if you're coming back from a university in the Netherlands, which can be possible, they may have information for you which tells you that your degree is a level EQF level 6. So again, this will help you understand your certificates and understand your qualification within the EU. And again, if you have any particular queries, I would certainly suggest to you to come and send us an email, and we will help you as best we can with your inquiry. Now, I'm nearly coming to the end of my presentation to you, but I would just again mention to you another important resource, which again is free of charge. It's called Europass. And this is a European-wide initiative, which is an information and resource platform of services for job seekers, for students, and for anybody who is, I suppose, in that space looking for work, looking for education within Europe. One of the biggest features in Europass is a e-profile, where you can create your own profile. You can upload your CV into this particular profile. You can upload about 3 or 4 or 5 different versions of your CV in the profile, and you can also add in things like digital copies of certificates, digital copies of photographs, of other confidential information that you want to retain in a portfolio that would be important to you in your job seeking path, if you like. So again, it's free of charge. In order to create your free Europass, you need to go to www.europass.eu, and we will be delighted to have you using this and to give us feedback about how it works. It's new, it's around quite a while, but they've revamped it in the last 1.5 years. And the idea is that the new Europass will move with the times, and that it would allow a lot of the digital material to be included in it now, and that it will also allow you to submit your Europass e-profile to employers directly as well. So there's lots of new features coming along with it, and I would suggest that it's very useful for you, particularly if you're looking at work or education programs in Europe, because they certainly are very well aware of Europass in many areas. I mentioned if you have qualifications from abroad, the Irish NARIC site can be very helpful to you, but also if you find yourselves in Australia, perhaps if you find yourself in, South Africa or USA or Europe, there are information resources under this banner called INIC-NARIC.net. So this is a European-wide service. And again, there's somebody like me in all of these countries who will provide you with advice about your qualifications and help you, you might say, get your qualifications recognized depending on where you are and depending on, I suppose, what sort of information you need. We don't guarantee, obviously, that you're going to get a particular job or course that you're applying for, but we will provide you with appropriate advice about your qualification that hopefully will help you understand the qualification yourself, and also help the employer or the college to understand the qualification that you have and its standing in our particular system. So really now that's more or less a very quick tour of some of the areas that I was thinking that would be useful to you in this particular area. I have included in the website a list of the links there about our particular area. So the first one there obviously is the QQI website, and if you've done a course that leads to a QQI award, obviously that's an important port of call for you if you need any assistance around that. The Register of Qualifications is the next one, the Irish Register of Qualifications. Again, if you're looking at a new program that you want to check what it is, what am I going to be paying for, etc. You want to know what you're getting, so check that out. Qualifax for more information and access to all of the colleges and all the college information about all of the courses in postgrad and other levels. Europass I have mentioned, and also I've mentioned NARIC.net, and of course I forgot to put in the NARIC one, which is the very first one, the www.naric.ie. So I suppose really, if you have any questions now, I hope I haven't spoken too quickly, but I wanted to just give you some ideas that there are information resources there that are available to you. All of the ones here in Ireland are free of charge. We have a portal where you can submit your queries online, and we will respond to the queries as best we can. We get lots of queries every day, but we respond to them, as quickly as we can, and we give you as much guidance as we possibly can to help you understand your qualification and move you on to the next stage. So I'd like to say thank you, and I'll put you back to Rory and ask if anybody has any questions in the chat or would like to ask me any questions themselves directly.
Yeah, there's a few questions coming through.
Good.
Thanks so much for the presentation. I think let's face it, there's a lot of different levels to the whole area, and I think you explained in a very clear and concise way that in terms of the structure and what each element does. And someone, sorry, excuse me, the screen just jumped. The NARIC, someone asked here, should they use NARIC to validate the qualifications that they did abroad? Now I know I may be asking questions that you've already touched on. But yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, again, if they have a qualification from abroad, if it's from France, go to www.naric.ie. Look by country. You can select France, for example, and you can identify the qualification that you have in your hand, and you can download what we call a comparability statement for that particular qualification. And that comparability statement will tell you what your foreign qualification compares to within the Irish system. So as I said, if you have something that, it may be slightly different in the French language or in the other language, we may not understand it here, but when you get your comparability statement, it will explain to you what it compares to here.
And all EU member states would be able to...
All EU member states will have a similar system. They're not all fully online like ourselves. We've been online since 2015. Quite a few of them now are online, they provide a service online, but they may have other requirements that you have to submit your documentation. Some of them might even charge you something for doing that, but we provide our service free of charge.
Oh, okay. And what's the impact of Brexit in terms of qualifications? Any impact at all in terms of qualification?
There's no change. There is no, where academic recognition is, you might say, overseen by an international convention called the Lisbon Recognition Convention, and that is for, you might say, the global education community. It's beyond the European Union. It goes beyond the European area, and it includes other countries beyond Europe. So the United Kingdom as such is still part of all those agreements, and we haven't fallen out of any of those things, thank goodness. So there's ongoing recognition. There are some instances, I believe, in relation to professional recognition where there may be some changes for professions. So again, that's something that I would advise people to check out individually with any of the professions, particularly obviously if they're going into the UK with their qualifications. And if they have any issues about it, they can come back to us and we'll try and give them some direction as well if needed. Okay. We also have a guide. We have a guide, which I didn't put up on the site here, about UK and Irish qualifications. What I might do is I can
if you can share that with us, Andrew, we can actually put
I can put that up in the chat. We have a guide between Ireland, England, Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland, actually, and it's very useful. It's one of the things I must send it out to people every day as well, that there's people always inquiring.
Great, because it is an area of some uncertainty, even though, as you say, thankfully it's underpinned by legislation, which is not going to change anytime in the near future. And someone else has a question here: who do they contact about getting their European diploma supplement?
their college. They got to go back to the college they attended and whoever they graduated from. So if they went to UCD or if they went to UCC or, you know, one of the technological universities, they'll have a link on their website. And so you'll have to apply. Usually just Google diploma supplement for your college and there you'll find a link, and it's usually the registrar's office. And they will provide you with the diploma supplement for your particular program.
Okay.
And it's really useful information.
Yeah, and yeah, we've received 3 other questions too, but I mean, in terms of, I assume you, like ourselves, you receive queries about about various degrees, various qualifications, and how they will appeal to the employment market. That's not the sort of advice that you're there to give, or we're there to give. So, the questions here I know relate to a master's in European history, for example. The best place to go is back to your career service, and that one they will help you for up to 3 years after graduation. So, any questions you have, they are really the best people to ask. Yeah. So thanks for sending through the question, but they are the best people to ask. So please go back to your career service.
Yeah, we can't advise you about subjects. We can't advise people about the subject they've done and whether it's suitable to do something to their job. You know, I can't do that. I'd be very nervous about that.
Well, listen, Angela, thanks so much for taking the time to present all that information. We will have that live on this site for the next 7 days. After that, we will then take it and we'll put it up on our social channels. So this information will be there for you to use and to access, because it is a great resource to come back to. And whether you're, finishing up on your academic journey or whether you're starting out, this is great information to have and to return to. Angela, thanks so much for your time.
Okay, no problem. And as I say, come and use the website. The services are there and they're free of charge.
They're all free.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
important.
No reason not to.
Okay.
Thanks so much. And listen, thanks everyone for attending our seminars here at Grad Ireland Live today. Grad Ireland Graduate Careers Fair today. It's the second time I've said that live here. And we hope you've found the information useful and accessible. And thanks for joining us. All the best. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.